Good morning, guys. It is Monday, March 22nd. Good to see you all. So let's go ahead and dive into what we'll be up to today. Your assignment for today is going to follow what we did last week. If you remember last week, you thought about what made Romeo and Juliet a great story. You thought about what made some other stories we read, like Richard Wright's story where his grandma attacks him with the towel. You thought about what makes that a great story. Well, we're going to apply that knowledge now by practicing actually writing our own great story. Okay, so here's the assignment for that. This is actually a 2-day assignment, which I don't do often. This is not due until tomorrow night at midnight. So tomorrow, Tuesday the 23rd, you will simply have to finish this assignment. That'll be your only task for Tuesday. And so you will complete it in a Google Doc. Okay, so you'll need to go to your Google Drive and make a document. And when you're finished, you'll share it with me. Or as you're working on it, it updates as you work so I can see it anytime. And here's the introduction to your assignment. As I've said, guys, you've spent a lot of time thinking about what makes a great story from Romeo and Juliet to Richard Wright. And now we're going to put that to use by you doing this. Here's your directions. Your job is to write your own great story. Okay? Inspired by what you have learned about the elements that make great stories. So this story can be about anything you want, as long as it is your best story. You can make up a story. You can tell a story about something that really happened to you, or you can mix it up. For instance, Romeo and Juliet is a made-up story. Shakespeare invented those characters, and it's a great story. Some great stories come from real life. It's totally up to you about whatever you want. Yours can be about a time you had a four-wheeler wreck. It can be about aliens attacking the Earth. It can be about anything like that. Hello. And guys, there are just a few requirements for you to meet. So here they are, very simple. Number one, your story should have a clear structure, right? Stories have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Your story should have that. Number two, this is kind of key. You should strive to use 3 of the story elements that show up on our list here. So things that we looked at last week that make great stories, I want you to pick 3 of these to try to include in your story. So perhaps you decide you're going to have strong conflict, great dialogue, and great characters. Okay, try to have those things present. But I want you to pick 3 of these things that you try to make sure you include. Number 3, make sure your story is easy to read and clearly formatted. Okay, and lastly, try to make it 2 pages long. Now you can use double spacing, and you can also use typical story formatting, which means you come down to a new line every time someone else speaks, like a speaker or something else happens. So that being said, these are your requirements. Again, you have today and tomorrow. So this should take a good bit of time, which is why you have 2 days. And I'm really looking forward to seeing them. If you have questions about the assignment, feel free to email me. But basically, as you're trying to write a really excellent 2-page story about anything you choose that tries to use 3 of these elements that we've learned make great stories. Again, email me if you have problems. You'll have until tomorrow night at midnight. And good luck. I cannot wait to read your stories.